Hello, welcome to What You Sippin' On. I'm Dennis Topa with Studio Bank Mortgage. I'm here with Eric Thornton, eXp Realty, William Stiles, Country Financial, and our guest today is Kathryn Good with Kathryn Good Marketing. First off, we're going to jump right into it. Kathryn, what are we sipping on?
This is a Oregon Pinot, and I've already forgotten Alona. I don't even know how to say it. So here's the deal with Oregon Pinot. I have liked red wine for a long time, or wine in general. I've liked for a long time. I used to prefer white, and then I started to go to red, but sometimes it was just too heavy. And so about 12 years ago, we were in Oregon, and just it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Have y'all been to Oregon?
No, it's on
A
my
long
list.
time
It's
ago,
on my
I
list for
think,
sure.
when I was younger. But they have the best wine. Like Washington and Oregon has the best wine, right?
For Pinot
the-
Noir. I
yeah,
mean, so they
for the
have the
altitude.
less. They don't have as much production as California, but they it's just well known for. But it's just gorgeous. We had a lot of Oregon wine when we were there, and my husband actually played golf at a course called Bandon Dunes. I don't know if any of you are golfers, but
Yeah, I don't know. Eric tries.
I've been golfing before. That does not make me a golfer.
No, I
it
don't
is a
think so.
very
No.
well-known course, so they say. I don't really know. But we went with them, my friend and I did, with our husbands, and we just sat in the chalet or whatever we were in. I
Oh,
mean, it was
nice.
like a golf. It was not a resort. It was a golf area. But we got a bunch of Oregon Pinot and just read and visited with each other. And ever since then, it's kind of like the underdog. I think that's why I like it.
Very nice.
It's also a lot softer. It's not. It's got a lot more taste. I guess it's not as rich and ripe as the California wines.
Yeah.
So I just if I'm going to a restaurant, that is what I'm looking for is an Oregon Pinot, Willamette Valley Oregon Pinot.
I like it. Does your husband drink as well?
Yes.
Red wine as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we, especially with the friends that we went to Oregon with, we always
That's
get a
very
bottle.
smooth.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
It's very nice.
It's light. You can do it with chicken or steak. But it's just. All
So,
kinds
are
of-
you like a food pairer with the wine, or
No.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not either. You know.
I'm not a wine connoisseur. I enjoy wine, but
Yeah.
pretty much I'll drink anything unless it's super, super sweet
Mhm.
or just gross, right? So
That's awesome. Do you watch Yellowstone by chance?
we did, yes.
Okay, so I'm not a wine guy, but after watching that and John Dutton drinks red wine, I think anybody can drink red wine.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, for
kind
sure.
of feel like John Dutton right now, actually.
Well, I'm
saying
one
that.
step
Yeah.
closer after my field trip to Kroger this morning to try to figure out where to find this Oregon Pinot, as kindly directed by Kathryn. I had a good coach to.
So you
Tell me to pick it
texted
up
him
this
and told him
morning.
exactly which one you wanted, and
I
this
think he
is-
was expecting it was going to be one bottle of Oregon Pinot he had to find, but I sent him 3 different labels that are typically found at any of our local liquor stores or grocery stores. Even.
And like
Oh,
any
wow.
good man who's been sent to the grocery store with pictures of things, I did not stray from the 3 options. I made sure that I got one of those options.
So, Kathryn, tell us. You're obviously in marketing. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you here to Hendersonville, and what you do?
So we moved to Hendersonville originally in 2001, right out of college. Seth and I, my husband, we graduated from University of Tennessee at Knoxville. We came here for
Go
his
Vols.
job. Yep,
Go
go
Vols.
Vols. We came for his job. He is an engineer. He originally took a job with DuPont in Old Hickory. So we moved here really just ease to get to his work.
Mhm.
And then we had to move away for 3 years to Buffalo, New York.
Oh, nice.
From 2004 to 2007, he was in a management training program. So when he signed with DuPont, we had to move. We did not really want to move. We loved this area, but we had to move for 3 years. And we actually really enjoyed Buffalo. We traveled a lot. I said I would never have a child in Buffalo, and I had a child in Buffalo. We
Snows
did.
a little bit up there, right?
It snows a whole
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
But the summers are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's rare that it gets above like 78 degrees, and there's a lot of lake life. But anyway, we really enjoyed our time. We traveled all the northeastern states.
And was your major? I'm just going back real quick. Was your major marketing in UT? at
It was
UT?
journalism.
Journalism,
with a
nice.
concentration
Communication.
in public relations.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took a job in nonprofit actually right out of college in Nashville, the Center for Nonprofit Management. And then we moved to Buffalo. We were there for 3 years, and we came back as soon as we could, and we've been here ever since. We moved to Hendersonville first in 2007, and then in 2015 we moved to be closer to the golf course in Gallatin.
Very nice. Very
Golf is the
good.
theme here, isn't it? Now, do you play?
No,
You don't?
No.
Gotcha.
Is he a member of Bluegrass?
he is not. We're at Foxland.
Foxland.
Or
Okay.
what, Tennessee Grasslands.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Grasslands, Foxland.
So that gets you back to Tennessee. What were you doing during that time whenever you transitioned back? Were you able to keep your current job, or did you get a new job when you moved back, or what that look like?
So in Buffalo, I started with a company. It was it was a catalog company. Do you remember catalogs when we used to have
You know,
mail
it
order
seems.
catalog?
Yeah, I think in Christmas time you'd like circle
Mhm.
your favorite toy in like the Sears catalog.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
remember that?
Yep.
Did you do that? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was a craft company. So like Oriental Trading Company.
Yeah.
And for Vacation Bible School or for teachers, you would order these craft packets. Well, when the company I was hired had a growing business in Vacation Bible School, and they were Orthodox Jewish owners, so they didn't know a whole lot about Southern Vacation Bible School, and it was just perfect timing for me to take on a job really developing crafts to go with Vacation Bible School themes. So I became the marketing director there, and that was at a time very, very early in e-commerce and social media. So I got to transition that business from mostly catalog mail order to mostly e-commerce. Learned a ton about SEO and
Wow,
social media
yeah.
very, very early in the game. And I did keep that job until 2012. So I was able to work.
How big was SEO back
Remotely.
then? Search engine optimization, was that a big thing back then as much as it is now?
It was, yes. It was still how Google ranked, but it was primarily metadata. That's when there would be a list of like 30 keywords in the back end of the website that any competitor could just go find what you were trying to rank for. It was very early in the day.
So it's social media platforms, because I'm assuming Instagram wasn't around then, right?
No, it was mainly the Pinterest. I was a very early
Mm.
Pinterest user, especially for that market. And it had barely any users, but we got all kinds of. That was our number one referring platform was Pinterest. Very, very early in the social media days. We did something called Freebie Fridays. So if you're in marketing, everyone talks about content and giving out free content, and so I was doing a freebie content drop every Friday back
On
in,
Pinterest.
on Pinterest and in email marketing
Really?
back in.
Do you guys use
that would have
Pinterest?
been
No.
I
don't-
have.
No.
I have in the past, yeah. For
For
like
your-
kid stuff,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
gift ideas for the wife.
But you don't put your mortgage stuff on?
No.
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 Okay.
I
No,
think
Lindy,
we're
no
missing out,
Pinterest.
though, from the sound of it.
I know,
A lot
it
of stuff
sounds
you
like
read
that.
most
says
of
you
my
shouldn't.
clients
Platform.
actually do not use Pinterest.
Oh,
now.
okay,
So
gotcha.
it's become a different. I love Pinterest still, and it depends on the audience and the market.
Well, obviously big for visual type of
Yeah,
elements and things
Yeah,
like
and
that. So
clothing,
Yeah,
if
clothing.
but any kind of crafts, food, that sort of thing.
I feel like I've gone on there to like, if I get like a stain on clothes, like they're like life hacks. There are a lot of life hacks on there? Yes.
Yes.
That's what I used it for, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, so we would have to develop a graphic on, this, how to do this craft to learn about John the Baptist. I don't know. I'm just making up things right now, but
Right.
so we'd have to do the blog article, and then have the graphic. We post it on Pinterest, and then hopefully they would come to the website, put their email in, and then we would remarket to them and try to get them to buy a Vacation Bible School product. So, but all that to say, it was very, very early. I
Very
learned
early.
a ton in the very just why people, how Google's working and what people are searching for, and why that's important to target them. So then I went to work for an agency and did that for about 6 years, in an agency in Goodlettsville, and learned a lot more. And then I did 2 years from 2018 to 2020 in corporate. It was a startup called Inspire Kindness, and
Inspire kindness? What was like
we were
their
trying to
business
help the
model?
world
Just
be
inspire
kind.
kindness.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's Mac Anderson, who's founded Successories. Do you know
Okay.
what Successories? It's the boat on the water with the quote underneath it. You've seen it in all. It's like on The Office in Michael's
Oh,
Scott's
okay. Yeah.
office.
Okay.
you'd recognize it.
You would recognize it for sure. But he had founded Successories and sold that business. He sold quite a few other businesses, and wanted his last hurrah to be Inspire Kindness. The business is still going. It's run under a parent company, but we try. I was pretty much the only employee during 2020 trying to make it work, and in the end, just couldn't couldn't get it done.
I'm just curious. You see those billboards all the time that says inspire something. I don't know if it's kindness, but is that what that is?
No, we didn't have the
Okay.
billboards. There's a
Okay.
lot. So what I learned very quickly, there was a lot of people trying to inspire kindness. Like you can get.
You weren't the only ones inspiring kindness?
No, I mean, especially during 2020, there you can buy a kindness T-shirt at Walgreens, right? I mean, so it was hard to come up with a model that would make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a great mission, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was a great team. I miss that team, but it
Didn't
was
work.
hard to make money on kindness.
Now let's go back for just a second. What'd you do before that? You said you were.
I was an agency. It was a web development company that we turned
Gotcha.
into an agency, marketing agency.
Marketing agency. Okay.
It was when I first came on board there. We really were just developing a website because a client said, "Here, do this. This is what we want." And so when I came in, I said, "Well, wait a minute. We need a strategy behind this. What are we trying to get people to do?" And so we ended up hiring a few other people, and it became a full-blown marketing agency.
Wow.
So
After you couldn't get kindness spread around the world anymore, did you leave and do it on your own? Right.
I still spread kindness. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes. So I lost my job the week before Christmas in 2020. So 2020 was
man.
just. So I got a little angry the next couple of months, and just was grieving a little bit, but still also really thinking through what I wanted to do. I did learn that I did not want to drive downtown anymore. I wanted to be in Sumner County, and I really kept praying on what I should do. But there's really not a lot of chief marketing officer or VP or even marketing director positions in Sumner County I could use my experience. So I had a couple clients that just came to me and said, "Hey, can you do this?" And one after another started, and I said, "Okay, I guess I'm going to start my own business." And
That's awesome.
that's how it got started.
Yeah, that's
Well,
awesome.
Touch base a little bit on when you lost your job. So did you see that coming in 2020, or is that like a blind side? And like,
No,
I feel like
knew
that
it
would be
was probably
challenging for a
gonna
lot of
come.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was probably coming. And we just kept trying to make money, and it had a very a parent company that was very focused on making money. Well, who doesn't want to make money? And especially during COVID, when we're all just trying to make things work. I knew it probably wasn't gonna happen. I was hoping I could slide into another job, honestly. But now I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful that it ended up the way it did.
Yeah. So initially you wanted to go to maybe another agency, not do your own thing at that time, but it may have
Yes.
forced your hand to do that.
Yeah, I said I would never start my own job or my own
Okay.
business.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like you got some pretty quick validation from some clients that you reached out
Yes.
to. And
Yes, I mean they came to me. It's been I very early did not have to do a lot of work. I was very blessed in that way, and my
You just opened
first
it up
client,
and people started coming to you.
I had a friend that needed a pretty big project done for a company in Nashville, and that helped out a whole lot. And then I had another friend that said, "Hey, do you know anyone that could do a Shopify site?" And I said, "Oh, I could do a Shopify site." And then the
Was it
last
Shopify?
one, Shopify,
Gotcha.
e-commerce.
Yep.
Oh,
And then the last one, I was actually at a Young Life board meeting, and I was sitting just like this across from somebody, and they said, "What are you good at?" And I said, "Well, I've been in marketing for 20 years, so I guess I'll say marketing." And he stopped me and he said, "Like marketing for a small business?" And I said, "Sure. I mean,
yeah,
sure."
yeah.
And he said, "What are you going to do with it?" And I just said, "I think I'm about ready to start my own job, my own business." And I remember turning and going, "Where did that come from? Why did I
just
just
kinda
say
popped
that?" It
out,
just kinda
right?
popped out. And he hired me like 4 days later. So
Oh, wow.
So you obviously had to be thinking about it because it was there subconsciously, right? It just came
Evidently.
out. Yeah,
evidently,
yeah.
So what is the business called?
Kathryn Good Marketing Consulting.
Okay.
I originally called it that because I wanted it to be me that they were working with. I have a lot of experience in agency, and you just never know what agency team member you're going to get, or who's really working on your stuff. And so early on, I really wanted it to be I was coming into your business, and you were getting me. That model may change in the future, just on the what I see coming, but that's what I wanted at the beginning. So.
what's been working for you to grow your business since you first started it?
Honestly, it's most of the growth has been with old friends that have just said, "Yep, it's time to do this." I have started a good pour based on Jason Elkins. He does 100 cups.
100 cups of coffee. I did his
Mhm.
course.
Yep.
Yeah, Jason Elkins.
And
shout
I
out to Jason.
started that in March of last year, February, March. I'm not sure, maybe February. And I think that has gotten a lot of publicity. I see a lot of people say, I see you're doing really well, and I'm like, I'm doing really well at having coffee with people. But it really helped kind of spread the news that I was in business for myself. And just grateful for that networking opportunity. And
That
know.
journalism major kind of
Mhm.
kicked back in too, helped you out a little bit.
yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do a nice job writing those up.
Yes. So I get a lot of comments on the writing. It's funny because, we're in a day that you really should be marketing by video and other things. But I still like writing. So it's a good, still a good platform for
Was
me.
that in the Hendersonville Standard?
No, it's just on my blog
Oh,
and
on your
social
blog?
media.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. It's amazing how many people still subscribe to the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked talking with the owner there, how many people actually still read the news. And I get the newspaper. I think it's a great resource. I was a communication minor.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So a little bit of that background. So share with us just some things that you think that you do on a daily basis that make you successful.
Good question. I keep up with research. I mean, this world is always changing, so I have to find podcasts and news. I try to find like Social Media Examiner for example, has a weekly newsletter that just kind of shares what the trends are or what big announcements have come out because it's very hard to keep up with
What
what's
was
going
it?
on.
What was it
It's
called?
called Social Media Examiner. It's just an example that has a weekly newsletter on what's going on. I do try to get to especially Gallatin Chamber and Hendersonville Chamber events just to network. I have clients. I have clients in Texas. I have clients in Nashville. But I really would like to help businesses in Sumner County. So those are my outlets to network. I mean, I've just recently developed an intern program. I have a heart for helping these kids who want to major
Awesome.
in the big world of communications and marketing.
Yeah, big world.
Yeah, try to narrow it down.
Mhm.
And I had one, her name is Emma. She came on last fall and really thought she was going to do journalism. And now she's realizing she likes the graphic side too. So just helping them realize maybe what their talents
Right.
are.
Yeah.
And that actually, they have branded themselves in this very room. They branded themselves the Good Circle. And that is actually going to expand to include freelancers, especially freelancers. I again have a heart for moms that have had a communication background or dads, that are staying at home due to kids' reasons or taking care of aging parents. And they don't want to work full time or can't work full time because of a lifestyle, but have a lot of talent to give. So I'm developing that right now too.
I'm curious, as someone who majored in journalism and did journalism, talk to us about how you feel about all the media outlets that are around today. Do you have a thought about that?
Just how many there
Yeah,
are.
I mean, there's just inundated with media, I feel like.
Yes, that was one of the reasons I actually did a good pour early on because I wanted to just be spreading good news as opposed to just all of the negativity.
Right.
And so many channels, but that's the world we live in. And you don't like what one thing is what one channel's saying.
Yeah, you just switch it.
You switch it or you create one. I mean, the same thing with churches, right? If you don't like your church, you create a new one or go to the next
That's
one.
a neat
So,
analogy. I never
yep.
thought about.
So you've worked with a variety of businesses by now, different individuals. As you're helping people walk through their marketing strategy or what they're doing or what they're wanting to do, are you seeing trends in whatever industry? I guess just kind of a blanket question. Things that people are struggling with or doing wrong, or maybe things are changing there that you're watching people struggle with, and you're finding more opportunities to help them through.
So my model is more of a full look at marketing.
Mm-hmm.
What I have really noticed is we have gotten very focused on what we're saying, and making sure we're present on social media and making sure we're doing all the things promotion wise. That we've forgotten, that I look at marketing as 4 parts to a whole. The first one is what I call the marketing soul. It's the culture part. If you don't know your why and communicate how you're helping people, you're gonna struggle with business. And then the second part is your marketing heart. and that is both anyone you interact with. So people, your employees, as well as, your customers, ideal or target customers or customers you already have. The second or the third is marketing mind, and that is how you're helping people. That is the products and services that you are using. And then the fourth is the strength, and that is how we are saying the things that we want to say. Too often, I think we're spending too much time in that fourth quadrant, and I've had lots of examples of, if they have a quality product and awesome marketing, but they treat people poorly when they come in the building, then it doesn't matter what I do or how I say it on social media or email marketing or how pretty the website is. If you aren't nice to your customers,
Yeah.
it's just not
What
going
was
to
that
work.
4 quadrants again? What was that?
Well, so at some point in my life, I started looking at my goals and kind of examining my life and mind, soul, heart, strength, based on a Bible verse. And when I kind of looked to see, well, how do I want to be different? How do I want to approach marketing? And that's really what I've kind of settled on too. Is this?
Do you know what verse that was?
No, I knew
Curious.
you were going to ask me that. So
Not to put you on the spot.
So I'm really bad at remembering numbers. I mean, really,
hear ya.
really bad. But it's
Yeah.
all written down
I
somewhere.
like the way you described all of it. Is any part of it built on? Isn't there the 4 P's of marketing? Is that
Yes. So there's
like maybe elements of it in there, but-
Yes. There are. I mean, there's like 8 P's of marketing
Okay.
these days. It's like we just keep inventing.
I was a
more
marketing
stuff.
major
Yes.
some time ago? It must have been updated since
Yes.
then.
But all of them really, can fit in one of those quadrants. And
Okay.
it's really who you are, who you're trying to help, how you're going to help them, and how you're telling them.
But it's interesting because that's branding you
Mm.
too, like right as your
Yes.
business. I mean,
Yes.
so all of a sudden you have. I love your unique way
Mhm.
of looking at that and helping people think through that.
Yeah,
It's
very much
really not
so.
unique. It's just we've forgotten part of it. I mean, we just really want to focus on the promotion part because that's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about digital media and inbound marketing for a long time, and it's very important, but not so important that we can forget about the other things. It's just like our lives, right? Like if you may decide you need to focus on your health, but if you focus on your health to the detriment of your family, then something's going to suffer.
Mhm. Right.
There's always that balance, I'd say.
Right.
And with that, I mean, I feel like working with a smaller agency like you're going to get that attention, right? That attention to detail, not a big agency where you don't know who you're talking to the next week, right? You
That's
had that
what the goal is.
conversation, and then the next week you're having that same conversation with somebody different. But I feel like working with you're going to have that tailored custom experience. I mean, is that kind of what you're going for?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go deeper with my customer relationships. I actually go in one of my packages. I go into the office once a week to be. They'll call it a fractional CMO or outsourced marketing director.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
it
it
is
seems like
awesome.
with your business too, relationship is key, right?
Yes.
I mean, not only that's how you got to starting your business, but now with a good pour, that is something that you're doing to keep those relationships, establish new ones with the business,
Correct.
which is huge in our market in Hendersonville, Gallatin, to have those relationships to build business and friendships, honestly. Yeah.
When did you
Awesome.
realize you were good at marketing? Because it sounds like the journalism major, you jumped in. It sounds like some of those things came about naturally. But at some point, looking back, you had to realize, like, man, I've really got kind of a unique skill set here. Because I mean, I've worked with you. I've had some of these conversations before,
Right.
and
So I have been involved in journalism. I mean, I was on middle school newspaper, high school newspaper. I was editor of the literary magazine. I was editor of the yearbook. I was editor of the college yearbook at UT. I always knew that I wanted to be in communications, and I was at the Daily Beacon. I was doing ads in the back of the Daily Beacon office as a freshman. I just knew that this was what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Some of it is just communicating with people, and some of it is the branding and kind of putting things together. When I decided to start the business, I really had to sit down and look back and say, okay, what am I good at? And I kind of took a look at a lot of the things I'd worked on over the years, and a lot of the companies are still using parts of what I created. And so that's when I realized, I'm pretty good at building systems and processes and
Right.
doing a full picture look at marketing. And so that's really what I focused on.
That's fantastic.
So moving into starting a business, like and started one before. So what does that look like? Do you just like Google like, hey, how to start a
Yeah,
business,
so
or like
it's
how does
harder
that?
than you think.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think her first step was she married Mr. Good, so she had her she had her name down, right?
Right.
yes, I had the name down. I it was interesting. Like I did the logo before I really decided. It was almost like I did the logo as a part of, do I really want to do this kind of thing? And then I fell in love with the logo, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this.
I feel like that's where everybody starts is they have to get that visual.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to visually see it, right? And if I see that logo, which I feel like we did that with B3 too, you know, you got that logo out and
Great
see
logo.
that, and it's like, oh wow, that's powerful. Maybe now I can put, you know, a plan behind that or in my business plan or whatever. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So I kind of did the logo, and then I Googled how do you start a business, and I really wanted like a checklist. And I do have Kindle Unlimited, and I downloaded all the free books that I possibly could. And there wasn't just because every state's different, you know, when it comes to taxes and what you need. And so I hired a lawyer pretty early, and just
Good for
because
you.
I didn't want to do it the wrong way. And now I'm working with an accountant to do taxes for the first time. So, I mean, I'm learning for sure. I do think at some point there could be a very long blog article on here's exactly what I wish I would have known when I did this.
That's
because
part of it
it's-
is learning
Part of
it
it.
as you go, because you never have that full plan that's like, here, this is going to work
Yeah.
to a T. A lot of it is just learning as you go.
Correct.
And it's having the courage to go out and do that,
Yes.
I think is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sleepless nights. I mean, just am I doing this right, or am I making a mistake, or but I just asked for confirmation and got it. So here
Yeah.
I am.
But at this point, what are some things or a thing that has like helped you through maybe some of those sleepless nights? Like, has there been like
Besides
a book,
this beautiful wine, we're
wine,
having,
yeah, that put you to
that
sleep?
obviously helped a lot. I'm assuming.
So I think the nights are interesting. I mean, they're dark and you don't know what's going on in your mind. I actually woke up last night and just I have this weird thing where I wake up and I feel like I'm still asleep clearly, but I feel like I'm supposed to push a button to save the world. Like it's a very, very weird dream. Clearly I have too much on my plate, right?
Yeah. And you have this over and over, this dream?
Yeah. So last night I like sat up and my husband like, you're okay. It was really interesting last night. This is probably should be edited out too.
No, this is
No, this is
awesome.
great therapy. Tell us more. It's a good therapy going on.
So I just lots of times you just have too much on your mind. Last night I actually did get up and worked for a couple hours in the middle of the night just to try to get it out, and then I was able to go back to sleep. That's always been me. My dad says it's him too, that it's just there's a lot going on in your brain, and somehow it needs to. I try to pray and meditate, but it won't stop. So I have to get up.
Do you
and
just
deal
write
with it.
everything down? Because I feel like that's something I've heard is if you wake up and you got it all in your mind, if you write everything down, it kind of.
So I try to do that.
Okay.
I do have
So
like
you
a
did try that? Okay.
notebook, but
Yeah.
it did not work last night. There's just some nights where I
Gotcha.
know that I need to just get up and I'll be better if it just gets on the computer or
Sure.
on paper.
Sure.
And then there's other nights where I can go back to sleep, and then some nights I don't wake up at all. Right? I mean, it just depends. But you know, when you're starting a business, and I mean, you've lost a household income, right? I mean, we were a dual family income, and during COVID, and the world's crazy, and there's all kinds of uncertainty, not just the fact that I've lost a job. So there was a lot of just, am I making the right decision? And I took on work that I probably shouldn't have, just to make sure that we were, you know, having some money come in, and you know, I learned a lot of lessons through that.
But I feel like when you start a business, you have to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're just trying to get going. So
Well,
now
some
looking back,
consultants will tell you you don't have to, that
Okay.
you should wait, but it's hard to wait. It's hard, you know, when you've got someone willing to pay you money to do a job. You know, there was a mindset for me that I needed to build a portfolio, and I think I would challenge myself looking back on that now, because I ended up building a portfolio, but you know, I did it with well-paying clients too. It wasn't all just I needed to give away work.
I think a lot of people tell you that
Yeah.
whenever you first start out, you know, like be selective or just work with the right people.
Yeah.
And I think there's value in knowing that's where you're going, but there's also, you know, you don't want to have those sleepless nights because of your checking account or something
Right.
like that, you know, so you make some
Right.
decisions, but we're all just constantly refining and fine tuning as we take our
And
business
my
where we
husband
want it
was
to go.
great.
Right.
You know, he basically said, we'll just, we had savings and we just took the year and did it, right? We didn't, he didn't stress, at least not to me. but I was stressing on both of our behalfs.
Yeah, I feel like my wife says this, but I don't stress, but she stresses. I don't know if that's like a male female thing, but maybe we're just like, hey, it'll just work out like it should. And other folks can't do that as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I'm the
think
same
like
way.
you learn stuff from like maybe taking those clients. So hindsight is probably easy to say I shouldn't have done that, but maybe
Right.
without doing that, you wouldn't be where you're at today
Correct.
and able to select your ideal client. Maybe.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Good point.
So do you have an idea where you're hoping to take your business the next few years?
No. It's changed a little bit just with the working with these interns. I'm enjoying that. They can do some of this work, and honestly, we have things to learn from them as high school and college kids. I mean, they are already communicating in some of the ways that we will be communicating. We've learned that, with various platforms. So to learn from them is wise, I think. And it has allowed me the opportunity to let them do some work, and I can check it and make sure that I approve. And the client can get it at a little cheaper rate because, I'm really working on the strategy, and they're working on some of the, the actual task work.
Right.
So that may allow me to grow a little bit more than I thought I was going to. This kind of consultant model where you come in, I mean, it could lead to me hiring other consultants and just using the strategy over and over again with different consultants. I don't know yet. It's very much been, I had always been a goals person, and I haven't set a lot of goals for this business because I want to leave enough space to see where God takes it and where it naturally falls into some, my talents and the clients that may need me.
Yep.
Who do you get the interns from? Just like relationships that you have, or do you?
So the two that I had last semester, one was a daughter of a very good friend of mine, and I knew she wanted to go into marketing and communications. So that was the first one. And then the current ones, it's interesting. One reached out, a couple of them reached out directly to me. One's mother reached out and said, hey, will you just have coffee with him? And I was so impressed that I was like, look, let's just do this. And I kind of went into that blindly too. Will I have enough work to give them, or will they enjoy this? But the task I've given them is really building the platform for others to do it. So we'll announce, an application process for the fall of 2022 interns shortly.
Well, kudos to you, because that's a barrier for a lot of people, figuring out what steps do I need to take to work more on my business instead of in it. So that's a leap. That's more responsibility that you've taken on, but hopefully it sounds like it's moving in the right direction. It's going to pay off.
Well, if there was a part of me that looked at going back to get my master's and being an adjunct professor at Vol State, or even going and teaching in the high schools, because I love youth, especially high school and college age. And they can learn a lot that will help put them on not a better path necessarily, but a quicker path to get them, in the industry or area that they want to work on. So it's just been I say it's a win-win-win because I get to teach and be with, younger kids. I also do youth at our church. So it's just an area that I like, and they get to learn hopefully. And then a business, like I said, gets a rate. If they use interns and they get a rate, especially for nonprofits, they get work that I'm training them on and approved by me, but, they can get it at a much lower rate.
That's fantastic. Speaking of nonprofits, do you have one that you're enjoying working with right now, or one that's kind of near and dear to your heart here in the community or elsewhere?
Just as a volunteer basis or a client?
Just maybe more of
Both.
a cause
Yeah.
that you're particularly
Cause.
passionate about in the community.
So I'm involved with Young Life, and I serve youth at the church. So I would say youth in general is a passion of mine.
What is Young Life?
Young Life is a Christian organization that it really targets just high school youth. They have a wildlife program too for middle schoolers.
very
They
nice.
meet
Very nice.
meet weekly, and it especially helps kids that aren't typically in church get somewhere. And they have a lot of fun. And then like the last 5 or 10 minutes, there's a message.
That's awesome.
So is Young Life, like, do they affiliate with churches, or is this own entity?
It's its own entity.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha. Super cool.
Want to hit some speed questions?
Catherine's
You
up
guys
for
good?
it. Let's do
Catherine,
it.
you ready for some
Sure.
speed questions? All right. So first one here. Where is your happy place?
The beach
Oh, nice. Happy place.
or walking down old ancient cobblestone European cities.
Wow. So when did you do that?
I spent 6 weeks in Italy when I was 16 years old. And then we've been to Zurich and France before COVID. But I love those small,
Yeah.
narrow roadways that are just ancient. And when you go to Europe, you just realize how young America is. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's
That's
incredible.
awesome. Okay. What would you do if you weren't doing what you do now?
I very much think professor or teacher I could do easily. And then church admin or church leadership. I've looked at that too.
Who is your hero or person that you look up to the most?
So I don't have one particular hero. I have been invested in by lots of people, and it's just become for me. I think highly of those individual people that have been in my life in seasons. We moved around a lot growing up, so I didn't have roots. So that's one of the reasons I care so much about being in Sumner County is giving my kids roots. So I think because we moved around so much and just had so many different seasons, it was hard to identify one hero.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on my life, just the individual people that have invested in me, and so therefore the people that invest in others, I think are heroes, which we all are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a favorite or impactful book or podcast, et cetera, that you've really leaned on?
So I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in college.
Yep.
I don't
Covey.
follow it exactly. Yep. I read a lot of his books, but I think that had given me the framework to make sure kind of that balanced approach to make sure I'm taking care of myself and friends. And, I had a list even in college to make sure I checked in on friends. And that was from that book.
Yeah.
And then the podcast I highly recommend is called The Bible Recap. And it is
Bible recap.
Yes, it is a chronological reading and then a podcast. She also has a book. I did it in 2020, and I kind of always stayed away from the Old Testament because it was so hard to understand. But
Very old.
it's very old and very graphic and worrisome and
God was not happy in the Old Testament.
But you really see why, and it's just a story of him chasing us, and we keep turning away, and then we have a Savior that helps all that. So
Very cool.
it really helped me understand the Old Testament, though, and therefore the Bible in general.
When
Highly
you say you
recommend it.
did that, what is it? Is it like the series? You listen to the whole series then?
Yeah, it's a year, and,
Gotcha.
and so
Oh,
you
wow.
basically read the Bible chronologically, which I also highly recommend. So when you're talking about David, and then you can go read David's Psalms right after they happen, instead of reading all the Psalms from Moses to, Solomon in one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just much more effective when you can read the Psalm of what they're thinking or singing or whatever after you read what happened in the story.
All right. Lastly, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
So people tell me I'm good with invitation. That's actually part of my why. My why is to be a source of encouragement, invitation, and ideas so that other people can reach their. See, now I've forgotten it. To be a source of encouragement, ideas, and invitation so others can reach their current potential or future possibility. I want to have a well-used house. I want to invite people in and help people find their place either in my house or in their life or that sort of thing.
That's
So,
very beautiful.
thank
Love
you.
it.
Yeah.
Well, you shared a lot of awesome stuff with us today, Kathryn. Where can people find you if they're interested in connecting with you?
KathrynGood.com. There's a free email. I put out a good tip every Tuesday. Just try to give something that they can implement quickly in their marketing. You can also request a free consultation. I do those often just to answer quick ideas or take care of quick problems.
And that tip is on your website or on your Facebook.
Yeah, there's a
Instagram.
pop-up that, no one likes pop-ups, but they work.
Yeah. Here's
so
your marketing tip.
There's a pop-up on the website.
Do you have an Instagram handle or anything like that?
Good Marketing or KG Marketing is
KG
Instagram.
Marketing.
And I imagine people could find their way to the Good Pour, the write-ups that
Yes.
you've done there as well.
Yes. Yeah, the link in the bio goes straight to all the good pours.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, here's to you, Kathryn,
Here's
for
to
having
you.
us on
Thanks for
and
having me.
refining our palates a
Yeah.
little bit with some fine wine here today.
Thank
Appreciate you
Can't
being
tell
a
you
good
much
sport.
about it, but I like it.
I can tell you I like it.
As long
I
as you
don't
like
every
it.
wine,
Yeah.
but yeah. And before we go, hey, we also want to give a shout out to the guy behind our camera here, Brian Holloway with Black Fox Media. He's doing a lot with what little he has to work with here as far as, well, me, Dennis, and William are concerned. Kathryn was a treat
Kathryn's
today. But
awesome.
Brian, thank you for all you're doing, man, to help us out. And some of you might recognize this room already. We're here in Gallatin at 106 Public Square. They've been gracious hosts here, and love that we've hopefully found a home here, at least for a little while, as long as they'll tolerate us. So cheers to the audience for checking in with us today.
Cheers.
Thank you.